This is your weekly moment of growth. So on last week's Moment of Growth, I talked about going out to Indiana and speaking at Adam's event, the Million Pound Mission Transformed conference, or whatever you want to call it. And I talked about how I drove out there for 10 and a half hours by myself. And I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this and how I've been doing certain things in my life to push myself out of my comfort zone, to change patterns, to up-level my life, and to really figure out a little bit more about myself. Now, obviously, one example was going out there and sitting in my car alone for 10 and a half hours, driving from Reading, Pennsylvania to Bloomington, Indiana, and just spending time with myself. There were times where I had no music playing, there were times where I had music pumping, but it was always just me being me and getting into my head and really visualizing and seeing where I wanted to go. You might be thinking, Justin, it's not that big of a deal to drive in the car for 10 and a half hours by yourself. But for me, it was, because I had always said to myself, I'll never go on long car rides. It's uncomfortable for me. I get bored by myself. I get tired of driving. I black out, and I don't even know how I'm driving or where I'm going to. But when I did it with intention, and I set the intention to push myself out of my comfort zone, it really made me think about limiting beliefs that I put on myself in the past just because I felt a certain way or I thought I couldn't do it, right? And so something as simple in most people's minds as, sitting in the car by yourself for 10 and a half hours, for me was tough because I don't like sitting still. I like being active. I don't necessarily like being alone for that amount of time. Obviously, I have a podcast. I enjoy talking to people. And so I had a limiting belief that those types of things weren't for me. So something I'm going to be doing going forward is I'm going to start pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I'm going to start doing things and challenging myself, my body, and my tactics to level up in all areas. And so part of what I'm doing right now that I have not shared on this show yet is that I'm actually 24 days currently, 25 days at the release of this episode into Sober October. Now, I've never identified as an alcoholic, but I did drink enough. And so I was talking to my friend Dov today, and I said to him, I'm a social drinker, so I enjoy going out with friends and having a couple drinks, but then I'm also a very social person. And so I'm going to be sharing next week on the Moment of Growth my journey through Sober October and my journey and the realizations that I came to with my relationship with alcohol and what it's done for me sobering up for these 31 days, and really being with myself and really leveling up my health, my consciousness, and the ability to be present in the moment. And I'm really excited to share that stuff with you guys next week. And then going forward, I would love to try new challenges. I would love to try new things that push me out of my comfort zone, because that is the only way we, number one, find out what we love and don't love, and number two, level up our lives in all areas. And since that is something I'm all about, I'm constantly trying to grow in all areas. This is what I'm going to do in this new season of my life, which will be challenging myself. So I ask you this: shoot me a message on Instagram at GNM Podcast and tell me some things that you've done in the past, challenges, whether it's 10, 15, 30-day challenges that have helped you get closer to your goals, that have helped you clear your mind, that have helped you get healthier. And I'd like to take some of them and try them and share them in these moments of growth with you, and talk about how they're going and what they're doing for me. Stay tuned for next week, where I do a deep dive on Sober October. I think you guys are really going to love that episode. And in the meantime, I challenge you as well to get out of your comfort zone and start to live the life that you truly desire.